get their first of the season. The Bucks is by the bay. The Ravens are for real, going for the Jags jugular. And Dallas go down to defeat in the desert. Yes, indeed. Welcome along to week 2, real season. And you know, we sat here through a bunch of great games last week, and things just keep getting.
Oh, what a good week this was. And, you know, if you say Jaguar, how can
week 2, 1-0, which means that we weren't, and this could be what we're going to see now in our first round.
The gold, the Redskins visit Superdome in Larry Center. Kelvin Pritchard, a gift of inception. Named for the Kelvinator, a popular brand of refrigerator whose running style he imitates. That set up Jason Hanson's second field goal of the day. Then Brad Johnson's 5-yard touchdown pass to Steven Alexander put Snyder's Skinflints up 7-6 over the Lions. But all the Lions needed was Hanson's boot. He hit 5, including 54 and 49-yarders to put Detroit up 15-10. And when Terry Fair pulled in the 4th pick off Johnson on the day, the poor but honest Lions ran off winners. Dan Snyder will not be happy, but Detroit was happy to get Charlie Batch back at quarterback. When Donovan McNabb hit Chad Lewis to set up a field goal and pull the Eagles within 3 of the Giants, memories of last week's rout of Dallas fueled the Philly faithful. But with Kerry Collins deciding this was the week to do his Joe Montana imitation, this one to Amani Toomer, and then Tiki Barber repeating the form he showed in last week's Giant win, the sound of Philadelphia was more like silence. Did I say Kerry Collins and Joe Montana in the same sentence? Yup. Collins hasn't played like this in years. 2 touchdown passes, and Deuce Staley, who had 201 yards last week for the Eagles, had only 11 this week. That makes 212 in only 2 weeks. Hosting Jacksonville was one way for the Ravens to prove they're for real, but Mark Brunell and Jimmy Smith had other ideas. 2 quick touchdown tosses, and the Jags were up 17-0. Look at that move by Jimmy Smith, and watch this catch. But that was just time to cue the comeback. Touchdown Tony Banks hit rookie Travis Taylor for the Ravens' first score. Nice move, TT. And then found TT for a second time, and that cut Jacksonville's lead to 23-15. Baltimore took the lead for the first time at 29-26 on this TD toss from Tony to Jermaine Lewis. But Brunell and Smith had another touchdown. This one caroms off R.J. Soward. Jimmy Smith picks it up, spins around, 40 yards for the score. But Tony Banks had one more deposit to make. His 5th touchdown pass of the day, 29 yards to another new target, Shannon Sharp, and the Ravens had a 39-36 comeback win. Big day for Tony Banks, 5 touchdowns. Huge day for Jimmy Smith, 15 catches, almost 300 yards. The Raiders went to Indianapolis, where Peyton Manning had the Colts offense looking as smooth as ever. Touchdown pass to Marcus Pollard, touchdown pass to Edgerrin James, and an Edgerrin James touchdown run had Indy up 21-0 before Oakland had even lifted their eye patches. But Rich Gannon must have eaten his eggs scrambled Sunday morning. He ran for touchdowns of 2 yards in the second quarter, a long 2 yards. And then 7 yards in the third, and all of a sudden, it was 24-14 Colts. Gannon's 3rd touchdown run of the day tied the scores at 24. Nice bootleg. And then the visiting Raiders took the lead for good on Tyrone Wheatley's run. He He rumbles in for the score, but he doesn't get any extra points for throwing the ball into the stands like this. Not quite Peyton Manning form. Manning had enough for him to hit a late touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison, but it wasn't enough, and it left young coach John Gruden happy with Oakland.
I don't think anybody gave the Raiders very much of a chance in some ways. At least that was the theme that we had coming to Indiana. We knew we were playing a team that was a defending Eastern champion at home, and we knew we had our hands full. But as we told our team, you got to sometimes go a long ways to earn your respect. And I think today's a start. We got a long way to go. We got a lot of football yet to play. We have plenty of error to clean up. But when you talk about a team that doesn't quit, that plays for 60 minutes and has some big play people, you got a chance to win.
38-31 the final. Big comeback by Oakland. Big performances by Manning and Harrison go to waste for the Colts. In the Metrodome, Dante Culpepper hit Chris Carter to set up the Vikings' first score against Miami. That play led to the first of two Gary Anderson field goals. The first put the Vikings up 3-0, and that held up until the fourth quarter when they went up by a big 6-zip. Then Culpepper threw it up there for Randy Moss to bring down right over the cornerback. Dante's first pro TD pass and a 13-0 lead. The Flippers, who shut out Seattle last week, escaped being shut out when Jay Fiedler's pass to Tony Martin set up a touchdown pass to Thurman Thomas with less than a minute to play. But the Vikings win 13-7. Chris Carter will pass Art Monk and go to number 3 on the all-time receivers list next week, unless he's hurt.
There you go, a whole bunch of 1-1s and 2-0s there, sorted out in our first package for you. We'll obviously better go back to the top there. Washington, who in theory, I guess, are meant to go through the entire season not losing a dicky bird, and
well,
there you go.
That's what Dan Snyder expects his team to do, I think. And
yeah.
I think every time they lose a game, Norv Turner's wife packs one more room of their house up. A touchdown.
No,
they lost to 5 field goals, which is unusual. They lost Michael Westbrook for the season, which is going to hurt them a lot because he's a go-to kind of receiver. And with Brad Johnson throwing 4 interceptions, they've got Jeff George, as in George Washington, as in millions of George Washingtons that were spent to sign Jeff George.
A mercurial player, though, as you pointed out. Before we get stuck into that, though, get your diaries out, make a note of this. Bunch of losers in action.
Watch Wayne McGarity breaks 1 tackle, 2, bumps into 1 teammate, then another, and then he's off to the races, rushing by kicker Scott Player to put Dallas up 7-3 over the host Cardinals. Subbing for Troy Aikman, Randall Cunningham heaves a 47-yard touchdown to James McKnight. Cowboys go up 17-10. But yesterday was comeback day in the NFL, and Jake Plummer specializes in comebacks, 24-20. Now watch Cunningham's deadly accuracy as Michael Wiley's alertness puts Dallas up 31-23. Cunningham says, "I planned it that way." But Jake bootlegged again, he hits Frankie Sanders again, and the Cardinals win. Vince Tobin celebrates by doing his George Bush imitation. 32-31, the final score, Arizona winning at home. Jake Plummer's first good day in about a half a season. In the third quarter, watch what Ricky Williams does to Darrell Lewis after catching this ball. Bam! And down. Touchdown, New Orleans. Blake then hit Joe Horn for his second score of the game, and that touchdown gave the Saints a 28-27 comeback win. And Leaf had a respectable day, but Joe Horn had a big one for New Orleans, the former Chief with 12 catches, and Jeff Blake with 3 touchdown passes. In Tennessee, Frank Wycheck and Kevin Dyson did it again. The Music City Miracle, only vertical this time. The old cherry picker play works for a touchdown and a 7-0 lead over the Chiefs. But Donnie Edwards picks off Steve McNair with just 12 seconds left before the half, and that sent them in tied at halftime. In the third quarter, James Hasty picked off McNair again and returned it 38 yards. McNair had a tough day before finally going out of the game with an injury. That return set up Elvis Gerbach, 16-yard touchdown to Derek Alexander, and the Chiefs were up 14-7. But remember, it's comeback day. Neil O'Donnell hits former Steelers teammate Yancey Thigpen to tie the game up with less than a minute to go. Eddie George was held in check until the overtime, and this 20-yard run. That was all it took to set up Al Del Greco for a 36-yard field goal attempt. Less than 3 minutes into the overtime. If you want to know whether it's good or not, watch the hometown fans. It was good. The Titans have now won all 9 games they've ever played at Adelphia Coliseum. No NFL team has ever won their first 10 games in a new stadium. Neil O'Donnell will get the start next week for Tennessee. Nothing Panther lead. Berline to Mushin Muhammad put Carolina up 21-0. Then Berline hit Muhammad again to set up the Panthers' 4th score, and that 4th score would make it 28-0. Berline to Wesley Walls this time. Carolina go up 35-7 midway in the 3rd quarter. How bad was it for San Francisco? In the 4th quarter, they had Rick Meyer playing quarterback. That's how bad it was. He hits J.J. Stokes for a touchdown. Stokes celebrates like there's actually something to celebrate. No comeback here. Final score 38-22. The Niners have now conceded 74 points in their first 2 games, and the Panthers rebound from a tough first-week loss to the Redskins. Bruce Coslett's Bengals were undefeated after a magnificent bye last week, but rookie Travis Prentice delivered the bad news. Real football has begun, and the Browns were in the lead. In the battle of the 99 draft picks, Achilles Smith struck first with that pass to Ron Dugans. He tried to do the Icky Shuffle, remember that one? And it was 7-7. Craig Yeast failed to rise to the occasion as he Bengalized that punt. Tyrone Rogers recovered for the Browns. Then Couch absorbed a big hit on the bootleg, but still completed the touchdown to Mark Campbell, and Campbell took a shot of his own, making the catch. Couch won the battle with Achilles Smith. He hits Mark Edwards for his 2nd TD of the game. The Browns lead 24-7, and that's the way it finished. The win came at Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, but the new Browns have never yet won a home game in Cleveland. Just wait.
So 5 teams getting the win column for the first time this season there, but I tell you what, last season it was hinted at. This season it's starting to look, you know, like it's underlined. Dallas and San Francisco, the old strengths of the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and last week, the Bears' offense looked good, and Tampa's offense sputtered. What a difference a week makes. Donnie Abraham intercepts Cade McNone and survives a ton of bear meat falling on top of him. Sean King's touchdown run puts Tampa up 13-0. Then Abraham forces a fumble with this tackle. Rondé Barber picks up the ball and goes 26 yards for a TD. He's having a better game running than his brother Tiki. Sean King gave Keyshawn Johnson the damn ball to put Tampa up 27-0. Keyshawn's first touchdown as a Buck. King tossed another one, this one to Jacquez Green. Jacquez cutting across and nobody touches him. And then Mike Allstott rumbles in a straight line forward. He doesn't care how many guys touch him. 20 yards for the score. The Bears get shut out for the first time in 164 games. The Bucks rack up their highest score since 1989. Nice little game from Sean King and a horrible one for Cade McNone. Tampa's defense made that win happen. In Buffalo, Rob Johnson shrugged off an ankle injury to hit Jeremy McDaniel to put the Bills up 7-0 over Green Bay. Another 6-yard score, this one to Jay Remersma, made it 17-0 Bills. Brett Favre gunned it to Antonio Freeman. That cuts the lead to 10. The Pack sacked Johnson 5 times. but he kept bouncing back. He and Riemersma combined again to make it 27-10, Buffalo in the lead. Brett Favre had one more toss to Freeman left in him, but the touchdown was too little, too late for Green Bay. They slipped to 0-2 as Buffalo come out winners 27-18. Good day for Rob Johnson. When he can find his tight ends, Buffalo will always do well. Dan Reeves returned to Denver with his Falcons flying high after a big win over the Niners, while the Broncos suffered a tough loss to the Rams, which cost them Olandis Gary for the season and Terrell Davis for at least this week. Ever heard of Mike Anderson? Another 6th-round draft pick. The rookie ran in 2 touchdowns. Brian Greasy threw for another 2, and it was 34-0 in the second quarter. Derek Vaughn got 7 back for the Falcons with a 100-yard kickoff return. Watch the cheap shot on Jason Elam. That's going to cost Denver Elam for 4 to 8 weeks. Of course, when you're returning that many kickoffs in one half, it's not surprising you'd break one. In the second half, Rod Smith hauled in his second touchdown pass from Greasy. It was off to the races for Denver. Final score 42-14 Broncos. A big day for Brian Greasy and a big one for the unheralded rookie Mike Anderson. In Seattle, Jay Bellamy had one bright moment when he read a Kurt Warner pass, picked it off, and then danced around Warner to put Seattle up 10-3 over the Rams. Excuse me, Kurt, you're in the way. Ricky Waters regained the lead for the home team with this stutter step run, but Marshall Faulk just as quickly had the Rams back on top. Scores tied at 20. Warner unloads a 50-yard bomb to Isaac Bruce, and Bellamy celebrates like he just did something good. Huh? Roland Williams' touchdown had St. Louis up 27-20. But once again, Ricky Waters tied it up for Seattle at 27. Then Todd Collins hit John Kitna's arm. Kevin Carter caught the ball in the air, then he fumbled it himself, but Devin Bush runs it in for the score. St. Louis goes up 34-27. But John Kitna wasn't finished. He hit rookie Darrell Jackson for a 34-yard touchdown that tied the scores at 34. Watch him watching Jackson cutting across the middle. 34 yards, 34, 34. And guess how many seconds Kurt Warner left it to before he tossed the big pass to Torrey Holt? Yes, 34 seconds left. Warner looks down. Holt is somehow free between Jay Bellamy and Willie Williams. And that's enough to set up Jeff Wilkins for a 27-yard field goal that gives the Rams the win, 37-34. And the Rams have given up just a lot of points in the first 2 weeks and still come out winners both times. Seattle bouncing back somewhat from getting killed by Miami. And we've got standing boards now. The Bills all alone on top of the AFC East. Baltimore all alone on top of the AFC Central. Oakland, is there a pattern here? All alone on top of the AFC West. Giants all alone on top of the NFC East. Oh, it's crowded in the AFC Central. Detroit, Minnesota, and Tampa all on 2-0. And out west, St. Louis all alone at 2-0. So already we've got the playoff picture is decided. And big performances in week 2. Kurt Warner, 386 yards passing. Mark Brunell had exactly the same number of yards passing for Jacksonville. Mike Anderson, the unheralded rookie from Utah, who replaced Chris Malafala of Pittsburgh in that Utah backfield, had 131 yards. And Jimmy Smith, I mean, there's only been about, I think it's 2 days that big in the NFL